Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another episode of Boss Economics World, where we uncover the economic disasters orchestrated by those in power. And this time, it's former President Donald Trump in the driver's seat, steering the U.S. auto industry straight toward a cliff with his renewed threats of massive auto tariffs. That's right. Trump is once again flirting with the idea of slapping import duties on foreign vehicles, a move that could send shockwaves through a $240 billion trade pipeline. And we're talking about an industry where roughly half the cars sold in America are imported. Who does this impact? Some of the biggest names in global car manufacturing, Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Mercedes-Benz, are all caught in the crosshairs. But this isn't just a story about cars and tariffs. This is about the U.S. economy, inflation, global trade, and ultimately, the cost that everyday Americans will bear. Today, we're going deep, uncovering the economic devastation that reckless trade wars bring, exposing government mismanagement, and asking one critical question. Backhand index pointing right, will the U.S. economy survive yet another self-inflicted wound? Let's get to the heart of the matter. Tariffs are a tax, plain and simple. When Trump says he's going to tax imported vehicles, what he really means is you, the American consumer, will be the one paying higher prices. The numbers don't lie. U.S. consumers are already battling high inflation, with the Consumer Price Index, CPI, still hovering around 3.4% as of January 2024. Now, imagine adding an extra 10%, 25%, or even 35% in tariffs on imported cars. The result? Exploding car prices. In 2023, the average price of a new car in the U.S. was already a record-breaking $47,000, Kelley Blue Book. If Trump's tariffs hit, expect foreign automakers to pass those costs to you, pushing average prices well over $50,000. And don't think American automakers are safe. Ford and General Motors rely heavily on imported parts, meaning their costs will rise too. Guess who pays? Yep, you. Trump's America First strategy sounds great in speeches, but in reality? It's an economic torpedo aimed directly at American workers. Foreign automakers employ thousands of Americans. Hyundai has a $1.8 billion manufacturing plant in Alabama, while Volkswagen builds SUVs in Tennessee. Tariffs will crush demand, forcing layoffs at these factories. The auto supply chain is deeply global. A typical American car has parts from at least 5 different countries. Tariffs on imported parts will hit Detroit's Big Three, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, just as hard. If tariffs escalate, foreign brands may shift production out of the U.S., taking jobs with them. BMW and Mercedes already have large plants in the U.S., but if costs become unbearable, say goodbye to thousands of jobs. And let's not forget. Backhand index pointing right, Jim Farley, CEO of Ford, has already sounded the alarm, warning these tariffs could blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry like never before. You think Germany, South Korea, and Japan will just sit back and take these tariffs? Not a chance. The EU has already threatened retaliatory tariffs on American products, meaning industries like agriculture, tech, and aviation could suffer huge losses. South Korea, one of America's biggest trade partners, will not hesitate to hit back, potentially with tariffs on U.S. electronics and semiconductor exports. Japan, home to Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, will respond similarly if Trump goes too far. What happens next? A full-blown trade war. We've seen this story before. Red Circle 2018 to 2019, Trump's trade war with China cost U.S. consumers and companies over $80 billion, Brookings Institution. Red Circle 2023, Biden's continued tariffs on Chinese goods contributed to ongoing supply chain disruptions and inflationary pressures. Every time, the end result is clear: higher prices, retaliatory tariffs, lost jobs, and economic uncertainty. Trump keeps claiming tariffs will bring jobs home. But let's take a reality check. In 2018, when Trump imposed 25% steel and 10% aluminum tariffs, American manufacturers paid the price. For every steel job saved, nearly 75 were lost due to higher production costs, Peterson Institute for International Economics. His China tariffs didn't bring jobs back. Instead, by 2021, American companies had lost $1.7 trillion in stock market value due to supply chain disruptions. American manufacturing has been losing jobs for decades, not because of trade, but because of automation and corporate outsourcing decisions. You want real economic growth? Here's what actually helps. White heavy checkmark investment in education, infrastructure, and technology. White heavy checkmark encouraging trade and innovation, not blocking it. White heavy checkmark strengthening economic partnerships instead of starting fights. Instead, we have short-term political gimmicks disguised as economic policy. You might be wondering, if tariffs hurt consumers, workers, and even automakers, why do politicians keep pushing them? The answer: politics. Backhand index pointing right. Tariffs sound good on paper when you're rallying voters who believe foreign competition is the enemy. Backhand index pointing right. Lobbyists from select industries, like U.S. steel companies, stand to benefit from protectionism. Backhand index pointing right. The government collects more tax revenue from tariff payments, at least in the short run, before the economy takes a hit. And here's the icing on the cake, the biggest winners here will be luxury brands and domestic auto monopolies. Tariffs don't hurt the ultra-rich who can afford a $100,000 car. Tesla and other domestic automakers could use this to push EV sales, potentially cornering the market while foreign competitors struggle. But the average hard-working American? They get stuck footing the bill. We've seen this play out again and again. Tariffs fail. Protectionism backfires. The government's obsession with economic nationalism always ends with higher costs and fewer jobs. Now, with Trump teasing a 2024 return, he's already hinting at replaying his greatest economic blunders, and our auto industry is sitting in the line of fire. Police car light. If these tariffs go through, expect crossmark higher car prices. Crossmark factory job losses. Crossmark supply chain chaos. Crossmark retaliation from global trade partners. Crossmark widening economic instability. And all the while, politicians like Trump will claim they saved American jobs, when in reality, they just made everything more expensive for you. So let's ask again, will the U.S. auto industry survive? Not if the government keeps running the economy like a demolition derby. Thanks for tuning in to Boss Economics World, where we break down economic disasters before they break you. See you next time.